So, why do all carnivores look like shit? Well, at least this is what the vegans say. You get an awful lot of comments, how this guy and that guy looks crap. I get them all the time. Oh, you look fat. You look emaciated. Well, make up your mind. Oh, you look bald. Who's this bald guy talking about stuff? Well, yeah, it thinned out. It thinned out when I was vegan and vegetarian, and I lost my precious dreadlocks. But I'd say the thing about this is, always when you're looking at somebody, anybody, take into account their starting position, you know? Where did they come from? Where did they start? You know, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm 56 years old. I'm never going to look as good as some 18 or 20-year-old vegan who's discovered it in the last 6 months or a year, and who was very insulin sensitive and probably looked great to start with. And they never last long anyway. 84% of vegans and vegetarians go back to eating meat. But yeah, it happens all the time. So for me, I guess, yeah, take into consideration a starting point and anybody else you look at. I'm never going to be perfect, looking like one of those young vegans. So at 56, I'm pretty happy with what I've achieved. I've got probably got some baggy skin here and there. I've got a few joints that, well, 2 actually. All the rest have healed up perfectly, but one wrist doesn't move so great from years of inflammation. I've got a knee that might never quite look the same. You know, there's all sorts of little battle scars in there. But if you have a look at a blog post that I'll link to below this, charting my history and my history of diets and what happened to me when I was very overweight and then very emaciated from veganism. You know, I've been through the wars, so not doing so badly, I don't think. Yeah, I think that this not taking into account somebody's starting point is a big mistake. Would you rather take dietary advice from somebody who's lost 200 pounds and looks a bit baggy, or would you rather take dietary advice from some young guy who's always looked great and hasn't really had to figure out the ins and outs of what all these different diets can do to you? I know who I'd take advice from. Maybe I wouldn't have done when I was young, though. Appearances are very deceptive. But it was interesting. The other day, about 3 weeks ago now, I did an interview with Sverrier about ex-veganism, and I was chatting away to Gatis. And when the video came out, I'll link to that below as well. When the video came out, I got all these comments like, "Oh, you've got some guns." Now it was a heat wave in England, and I had this wife beater vest on, and people were saying, "Oh, look at you! You've got some guns. You've got, you know." And I hadn't thought about it at all, but it got me thinking, because to me they're nothing compared to when I used to train a lot and used to run my own gym, and then I lost all my muscle on veganism. But then, in the winter of 2013, 2014, I trained only about 10 minutes once a week, really brutal. But that was enough to put on about 30 pounds of muscle again. Nothing compared to what I used to have. But I haven't trained in the last 4 years, and I just thought anything I've still got left has been maintained just from eating meat. That's 4 years of low carb and carnivory for the past 2.5 or so, and low carb before that. So that's not bad if you consider with veganism, I lost all my muscle within a year. The whole lot disappeared. So yeah, you know, there's scars there, but it's not so bad for an old dude. I've blown out all my melanin. You know, I couldn't even go out in the sun all the years that I was vegan and vegetarian, and now my sun exposure time's gone up. I can go out in the sun and enjoy it, and I don't burn. Okay, I hardly go brown anymore. I guess semi-brown body and a bright red head all summer. But hey, you know, again, scars. But that's all I've got left with. And on the flip side, I've reversed so many things. I've reversed fatty liver with cysts, kidney stones, calcifications, rosacea. It's probably where I blew out all the veins in my face, I should think, from that time, and that was all on vegetarianism. All of that, sort of hot flushes and things like that, they've all vanished. I've got rid of so many skin things, digestive things, and of course psoriatic arthritis. So, you know, you've got to see somebody's starting point. When they start attacking people like Sean Baker, like, doesn't he look crap? I'm not seeing it. You know, the guy's over 50 and he's about 240 pounds muscular. Not many vegans looking like that. The ones that make it to that age are looking very emaciated. I would say to take more notice of, you know, stop picking on people who might have had a difficult starting point, and perhaps look at the people who didn't, who kept in pretty good shape all their lives, and then they get to the kind of age where the vegans are very emaciated, and they're not emaciated at all. Look at Dr. Ted Naiman. Okay, he's a bit younger, but look at my friend Tristan. All meat, looks fantastic, perfect blood results too. Look at you know, even Mark Sisson. Okay, he's not completely carnivore, but he eats a hell of a lot of meat, and he's in his 60s now, and loads of people at 20 would want to look like that. There's no 60-year-old vegans looking like that. They don't have the musculature. Anybody you come up with, you vegans, with about musculature, they're all young, and they probably give up soon anyway, and its supplementation is huge. You should see Gatis' video on that. Maybe I'll link to that too, when he blows apart the whole myth of that. I mean, when I look at some of these vegans, they're not looking that great. And if you're young, really honestly look at what people are looking like. Some fairly well-known ones have got in touch with me recently, as well as hundreds of people who no one's ever heard of, with their health problems, where their health's failing on this veganism. And with the Carnivore, I'm just seeing things going from strength to strength. I'm seeing people in my group, which at the time of making this, I think there's 4,600, 100% carnivore and beyond. World Carnivore Tribe, Sean's one, Esme Lafleur's Principia Carnivora, Paul Mabry's Zero Carb Doc. You look at the people in there and you look how they're adding muscle, how they're losing fat, they're adding bone density, you know, they're reversing chronic diseases. All of this stuff's happening just from eating meat. Don't really even need to particularly train to look that great. So yeah, I'd look to your own high priests and be honest with how well they look. I'm not seeing any of the doctors who are preaching veganism looking that great. No one's taking their tops off. Nobody's looking that good. I mean, take Dr. Greger. He's if you're watching this, Dr. Greger, I'm sorry, man. I don't mean you any harm. I really don't. But you're not looking good. You're very, very skinny, and quite honestly, I'm looking forward to a time when it goes wrong for him. Now that sounds nasty, and I don't mean it like that. I don't want anything nasty to happen to him or anybody else. I hope he gets something minor, like uncontrollable shits, you know, like he has to get wheeled onto his talks sitting on a commode, or something like that, or has to run off in the middle constantly, or maybe he's hiding it by wearing plastic pants already, you know. But if he gets something like that and then eventually can't disguise it and has to come clean, he'd be a great voice for Carnivore, and I hope for his speedy recovery and being able to meet him one day and shake his hand and say, hey, we're all wrong. You know, we're all wrong at times. I wrote a book extolling vegetarianism. I was wrong. Look at Tim Noakes in South Africa. What a brave guy. His whole life was revolving around preaching carb loading and stuff. He was wrong, and he admitted it, and he got in terrible trouble for it. Now, there we go, you know. Look at some of the ordinary people out there. Join different groups. See who's putting on muscle. See who's looking absolutely fabulous, and then see who's wasting away. I bet you'll find the positive results on the carnivore groups and the low carb groups, and a lot of wasting away on the vegan groups. So give it a bit more consideration before you blurt out these strange things, and take somebody's starting point into consideration. Thank you. And if you're vegan, go and eat some meat. Look good. Feel good.